Good evening and welcome to California Today. I'm David Lam, sitting in for Liang Zhang. Here's a preview of some of today's stories. The Labor Day weekend heat wave is almost here and fires are coming with it. A new fire in the north of the state has led to evacuation orders. The country is facing a tomato shortage. On top of that, another tomato hauling truck crashed on a California highway. We'll hear about what's happening to the crops. And the Highway Patrol will be out in full force this weekend, hunting for intoxicated drivers. It's part of the annual Labor Day safety patrols. A fast-moving wildfire was reported shortly after 1 p.m. on Friday in Siskiyou County in Northern California. Evacuation notices have been given to some areas in Siskiyou County, east of Interstate 5. Weed, Lake Shastina, and Edgewood communities are currently being impacted. According to CAL FIRE, the fire is reportedly spanning over 200 acres with hundreds of homes threatened. Multiple fire departments are on scene. Death Valley in California has recorded what's thought to be the hottest ever September day anywhere on the planet. Here's a look at just how hot that is.
Thermometers briefly nudged up to 127 degrees in Furnace Creek on Thursday afternoon, the first day of the new month. Temperatures surpassed the previous September record of 126 degrees.
I wish it were cooler already. This is abnormally hot for September.
The new record for September comes a day after Death Valley hit 123 degrees in August.
That ground heats up. We've measured temperatures of 201 as far as ground temperatures. That ground is then radiating the heat back up into the air. Y'all know that heat rises and normally would rise and travel away with the wind. But here, because of the high mountains, it gets trapped and cools down a little bit, enough that it falls down and gets reheated. So we end up with a recirculating heating effect.
The iconic desert holds the record for the hottest ever temperature on Earth, peaking at 134 degrees on July 10, 1913.
Humid heat at this temperature would be much more unbearable than this temperature in relatively dry conditions. Now, it is more humid than normal here in Death Valley because of the rains we had over the past month. But dry heat means that your sweat will evaporate almost instantly to the point where you don't even realize you're sweating, your shirt doesn't get soaked. And so people, their body's cooling them down through sweating and may not realize how overheated they actually are and how dehydrated they're getting.
Forecasters have been predicting that Death Valley could see a new record over the coming days, with California in the grip of what's been described as a dangerous heat wave.
Sometimes we get weather tourists. So when we have high temperature domes, sometimes people in the surrounding states will come just because of that. Like, oh, I've never experienced 120. I've never experienced 125. It might be a record. It might be 130. And so people come because of that, which you might think it would scare them away. It actually has the opposite effect.
Wine's words appear to ring true as visitors from near and far flock to the hot tourist spot.
I mean, it's just a typical summer's day, really. So, yeah, it's good to be in the hottest place on Earth during a heat wave so you can really experience the true heat that Earth has to offer. So, yeah.
I live in North Europe, so I'm not used to this kind of temperature, even if I am Italian originally. So, in that case, in Italy, sometimes we have very high temperature, but not 48 degrees.
Yeah, it is actually dangerous. It would be dangerous to break down here.
Yeah, it would be.
I'm extremely hot right now just standing here. I don't know how you guys are doing it.
Death Valley authorities also cautioned against going off the road if people's cars break down. The area saw nearly a year's worth of rainfall in just 3 hours on August 5th, leading to mudslides and damage to roads. Many of them are still shut.
There are still major entrances into the park that are closed. And unfortunately, some of the mapping applications are routing people to avoid those closed roads through really small tracks where it's in normal conditions, high clearance four-wheel drive to get there. And people are attempting this in rental cars and sedans and breaking down in a spot where no one else is going to find them. So that's a real safety issue.
Arizona, Nevada, and California are expected to continue to see triple-digit temperatures until at least the middle of next week.
After flash floods hit a Southern California preserve, the Park Service warns to not follow your GPS into a muddy shortcut. one traveler's car got stuck in mud in the Mojave National Preserve. The National Park Service issued a traveler safety alert on August 31st for Mojave National Preserve. They say that GPS maps or driver-assisted technology, quote, may not be reliable. One vehicle following a GPS bypassed closures and hazards and then became stuck on this pathway. The occupants were okay, but the car had to be abandoned and then towed away. Heavy monsoonal storms battered the preserve for the past month, leaving paved and unpaved roads in poor condition. Mapping services may show that roads are open, but that may be inaccurate. The Park Service said the preserve has impatient travelers on Interstate 15 or I-40 looking to bypass obstacles or delays. When traveling on desert roads, the Park Service has the following recommendations. Check for updated road conditions and not relying solely on automated mapping. Take your time and find the path, and to not move barricades or bypass closures. Imagine a world where ketchup, pasta sauce, and salsa are in short supply. Well, that horrible reality for many Americans may be one step closer to coming true. Farmers across the U.S. are warning of a tomato shortage. NTD's Phil Zoe has a story.
Americans love tomatoes, or rather, the food that we get from tomatoes.
Unless you're allergic to tomatoes, right? I can't imagine that Americans are not using at least one tomato product per day.
Lisa Cutter and her husband from Bethlehem, Georgia, are major tomato fans.
My husband loves ketchup. If he could just drink ketchup, he would. He's one of those people who will wear a t-shirt that says, "I put ketchup on my ketchup." Yes.
Cutter says her family eats food made from tomatoes pretty much every day.
I mean, most people eat French fries, right? And what do they dip those in? Generally, they're dipping them in ketchup. A lot of people eat hamburgers. What's on your hamburgers? Ketchup. That's just the ketchup side of things. That doesn't even include all the, Italian Americans like myself who eat a ton of pizza and pasta. So when sauce is on sale at the grocery store, believe me, I buy multiple jars.
But farmers in California who are responsible for most of America's tomatoes used in pasta sauce, ketchup, and salsa say for this harvest season, it's looking bad, mostly because of extreme drought in California and also inflation and supply chain issues. The California Tomato Growers Association says farmers are paying 20% more to grow tomatoes.
I buy sauces, I buy salsa, I buy ketchup, so I realize those prices will go up, and it's because of the drought here in California.
Then there are Americans like Amy Levy who use tomato products occasionally, but raw tomatoes, forget about it.
I don't like the texture, I don't like the skin, I don't like the juice, I don't like the seeds. The whole consistency bothers me.
Levy has been a lifelong tomato critic, she says.
People have said, Amy, the best tomatoes are in Israel, the best tomatoes are in Greece, the best tomatoes are in Italy. And I say, no thank you, I don't need a bite of it.
Last year, only 11 million tons of processing tomatoes were harvested. That's down 25% from the peak harvest season in 2015. Phil Zoe, NTD News.
It's unknown how much of an impact truck crashes have on the tomato shortage, but a second tomato spill occurred on the freeway again. More tomatoes were spilled on Interstate 5 past Elk Grove Boulevard after a commercial truck lost a trailer in a vehicle crash and sent them rolling across the freeway on Friday morning. The driver is fine, and CHP is checking if another vehicle is involved. It's the second tomato spill in a week. On Monday, a big rig hauling tomatoes crashed into the center divider on I-80 and sent thousands of tomatoes spilling onto pavement. Authorities had to shut down the freeway in both directions to clean up before reopening the roads again. California Highway Patrol officers have begun ramping up operations on highways throughout the state as they attempt to catch drunk and drug-impaired drivers as part of their annual Labor Day weekend enforcement campaign. NTD's Bill Thomas tells us more.
The California Highway Patrol's maximum enforcement period began at 6 this afternoon and will last until 11:59 on Monday night. CHP Commissioner Amanda Ray says alcohol and drug-impaired driving continues to be a leading cause of traffic fatalities and injuries in California, and the moment an impaired driver gets behind the wheel, they put themselves and every other person on the road in great danger. Commissioner Ray also said the CHP will continue using various strategies to ensure travelers in California have, quote, the highest level of safety. Last year, during the Labor Day weekend, CHP officers say they arrested 985 motorists statewide on suspicion of driving under the influence. During the same time, 43 people died in car incidents throughout California. The CHP also says between vehicle towing and storage, fines, legal fees, car insurance increases, and more, a DUI arrest could set you back more than $13,000. Bill Thomas, NTD News, California.
We're going to take a short break, but here's a look at what we've got for you when we come back. Thieves are targeting elderly people in Los Angeles. It's happening in the form of a confidence scam. We'll look at what's happening and how one can protect themselves. Teachers are protesting extra school days. That's after Los Angeles Unified added a few days to this year's schedule. And an animal shelter is finding ways to keep their residents cool. That's with air conditioning and icy treats. That and more on California Today. A new type of crime is increasing across cities in the Los Angeles area, where the criminals are targeting the elderly. NTD's Jackie Rios talked to a local police department to hear about the new kind of confidence scam taking place.
The Glendale Police Department says they're experiencing an increased number of distraction thefts in their city. It's easy to become a victim, but there are certain things you can do to ensure your safety. Field Training Officer Ernesto Torres from the Glendale Police Department said distraction thefts are being seen in residential areas. He explained why and who the con artists are targeting.
A distraction theft is commonly when a suspect will seek out a victim and distract them, trick them, if you will, into either getting their confidence or getting their trust, and then in return, they'll commit a theft. So what is happening here is we have the suspects driving around, in the city, and they find most likely is the elderly, see that they're wearing jewelry, and they'll target them.
Torres said the confidence scam follows a standard script. The suspect will begin contact by asking for help with directions, then thank the victim by giving them fake jewelry. The suspect will proceed with physical contact, kissing the victim's hands or giving them a hug. This trick is not only to gain the victim's confidence, but also to trick onlookers into believing the victim knows the suspect. Finally, the theft takes place as the suspect swaps the victim's real jewelry with the fake jewelry.
No, it appears to be straight jewelry, either necklaces, rings, pendants, that type of thing.
Thieves appear to target residential areas which are more isolated than parks or commercial areas. Torres noted the suspects consistently are not parking their vehicles. One of the suspects is running the car, while the secondary suspect targets the victim.
There is victims that are probably out there that haven't realized that their jewelry has been taken. Be vigilant, be conscious of who's approaching you. Ask yourself, why is this person talking to me the way they're talking to me? I hate to say this, but the days of walking up to strangers and giving them hugs are no longer here. There is no reason why a person should be grabbing your hand and kissing your hand, being complete strangers. Any hugs from a complete stranger, it's a huge red flag. Again, if you happen to see cars that are just stopping in the middle of residential areas and people are getting out and just walking straight up to your, to the elderly, if you will, that's another big flag.
While distraction thefts are generally nonviolent, they are still a crime you need to know about. You're encouraged to do all you can to avoid becoming a victim. Jackie Rios, NTD News, California.
San Francisco's Millennium Tower is slowly becoming the American version of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. It has suffered from extreme tilt, and the solution may be around the corner. Maybe better to say under the corner.
The Millennium Tower in San Francisco has sunk and started leaning. Its top is now leaning over 29 inches, and its base has sunk 18 inches. And to fix it, NBC Bay Area reported that San Francisco officials have approved a plan to restore its official position. The solution would be to install 18 cylindrical metal supports called piles under the building to support the structure, but the fix is still garnering skepticism from one geotechnical engineer. Bob Pike told NBC that by excavating a large portion of the ground to implement this, the supposed fix could remove supporting bedrock. In a statement to NBC, he said, quote, "The last thing you want to do to a tower is digging 25 feet deep excavations along the side of the building that are settling and tilting. But engineers and planners are operating under a time constraint. If or when the building leans another 11 inches over, life safety systems and elevators will start failing."
A teachers union in Southern California is gearing up to boycott extra school days. The Los Angeles Unified School District approved adding 4 optional instruction days earlier this year.
A teachers union in Southern California is gearing up to boycott extra school days added by the Los Angeles Unified School District. United Teachers Los Angeles officials said the 4 extra accelerated days were added without consulting with parents, teachers, or other school workers. The union filed an unfair labor practice complaint earlier this month. The district board approved adding extra school days in April to help students catch up on learning emerging from the pandemic. District Superintendent Alberto Carvalho said these optional instruction days will provide a deep level of supplemental academic support for our students who need it the most. Students who have lost the most ground, students in foster care, students with English language limitations, or one or more disabilities. The union said the district's estimated $122 million fund should go into hiring long-term positions such as nurses. However, Superintendent Alberto Carvalho argued funding is not permanent and cannot be used to hire permanent staff. The spokesperson said the district looks forward to reaching a fair and timely agreement that ultimately benefits both students and educators. Teachers union members are planning to rally on October 19th. Bill Thomas, NTD News, Los Angeles.
People and animals alike are trying to keep cool during California's heat wave. Here's how one animal shelter in Los Angeles is holding up.
As a prolonged heat wave grips Southern California, workers at the NKLA Best Friends Animal Adoption Center make sure its cats and dogs are kept cool and comfortable by keeping them air-conditioned and fed with icy treats. And with more than 30 cats and 30 dogs to attend to, the workers have their hands full keeping these furry friends nice and chilled.
So this is Splitter, and he's been at the Pet Adoption Center here for just a couple of days. And we have him outside today just to give him a little bit of exercise, a little bit of a potty break. But we're very aware that, you know, it is hot outside right now, so we keep our potty break short, and we always want to offer cool, fresh water for the dogs. We also have some kiddie pools that are available for the dogs to be able to walk through and cool down their paws.
And with such extreme weather hitting the state, putting animals at risk, animal shelters are calling on people to adopt more animals.
We have about 30 cats currently on site, and in Los Angeles right now it is considered kitten season. So kitten season is during the hottest months of the year, and we're definitely feeling that right now with the heat wave that's happening in Los Angeles. And so we're very lucky to have this facility and to be able to house our cats indoors in some air conditioning and some cooler temperatures.
A record-breaking heat wave hit California on Wednesday. The state's inland valleys may see temperatures of up to 115 degrees and 100 degrees along the coast over the Labor Day weekend.
Since COVID hit and past pandemic, our shelters all across the country are at full capacity. And a lot of people are just not adopting in the same way that they used to. So we really are urgently asking for people to foster and adopt these animals, especially during the heat of the summer, because, you know, they're just going to do way better in a home.
Temperatures could reach all-time highs in many parts of the state. An area of high pressure that built up over the desert in the southwest, caused by the extreme heat, will move through California over the next several days.
Now to NTD's Thomas Christian for an update on sports.
I'm Thomas Christian, giving you your California Today Sports Roundup. Serena Williams' unexpected run to the U.S. Open third round has sliced her odds of winning a record-tying 24th Grand Slam title, Caesars Sportsbook said on Thursday. The American great came into what is expected to be her final tournament as a 50-1 long shot to win the title. But after upsetting world number 2 Anett Kontaveit on Wednesday, she is now at 14-1, according to Caesars. Williams only trails Poland's world number 1 Iga Swiatek, Caroline Garcia, compatriot Coco Gauff, Ludmila Samsonova, and Ariana Sabalenka in the odds on her capturing a 7th crown at Flushing Meadows. Her match on Wednesday also attracted the most betting interest of any match in the tournament so far, receiving 60% more money than the next closest contest. Serena, who along with her older sister Venus, emerged from the public tennis courts of Compton, California, and went on to transform the sport and grab the attention of a more racially diverse audience, has also lit up social media this week. 30% of users who tweeted about Williams in August had not tweeted about tennis all year, and 67% of those who tweeted about Williams in August had not tweeted about her all year, the social media company Twitter said. Tickets to see the player many consider to be the greatest of all time have also skyrocketed. The get-in price to attend Friday's match is a whopping $565, while the cheapest ticket in the lower level of the Arthur Ashe Stadium is $4,361, according to ticket retailer TickPick. Former Giant Darren Ruff lofted the tie-breaking sacrifice fly in the 6th inning for host New York, which beat Los Angeles in the rubber match of a 3-game series between the top 2 teams in the National League. The Mets, who scored twice apiece in the 6th and 7th, won the season series 4-3. Chris Bassett threw 6 innings of 2-run ball for the win, and Adam Ottavino fired a hitless 9th for his 3rd save. The Dodgers lost back-to-back games for the first time since late July. Chris Martin took the defeat in relief. Mets 5, Dodgers 3. Joey Meneses capped a 4-hit day with a 3-run home run in the 10th inning to lift Washington past visiting Oakland, which had scored twice in the top of the inning. Kybert Ruiz pulled the Nationals within 5-4 with an RBI single in the 10th. Lane Thomas walked, and Meneses, a 30-year-old rookie off a torrid start in the majors, hit a 2-2 pitch from Jorge Ruiz to right center to give Washington the series win. Oakland prospect Ken Waldichuk picked up a no decision in his major league debut. Waldichuk was in trouble in each of the first 3 innings, but allowed only 1 run on 5 hits in 4 2/3 innings. Nationals 7, A's 5 in 10 innings. And that's the sports roundup for today. Back to you.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We'd like for you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8:30 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts on our California Today webpage. You can find it at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. I'm David Lam, sitting in for Liang Jing. Have a wonderful weekend.